Yeah.
We are the epitome of Black female love.
Yeah.
It's easy for us as Black women to hold up the banner and the cause for everyone else. But again, who holds up the banner and the cause for
that we as a Black church are perpetuating the same behavior as a patriarchal evangelicals have been doing.
Right.
My sister, hello, and hello.
Girl, you have outdone yourself with that intro.
Yeah.
Ooh, it looks so good. I love it.
I miss you. Hello. Please let us know that you are here where you're listening from. I see, is it Chantel from Atlanta? Hello. Renee Thompson Jones, hello, and hello. So, Wallace, how have you been this summer? What have you been doing?
Oh, girl, I've had a rough summer. You know, I ended up in the hospital in Brunswick, Georgia, with an appendix. I needed to have an appendectomy before my appendix ruptured. So I went through that and I'm doing well, struggling still with some health challenges, but God is so good. I've been working on a plenary speech for KFM Ministries.
Come on, say it loud. Say it loud.
I'm looking forward to a couple of weeks from now.
Actually, it is next week.
Health in the Black church. I am excited.
Wow. It is. It's good to see you. One of our co-hosts is having some technical problems, and the other one is on her way, and so we're grateful for that. But I know I've had an absolutely wonderful summer. It is the first summer in over 20, almost 30 years that I've ever had an opportunity just to travel during the summer without all of the obligations that the church has on me. And so this first summer of retirement has been absolutely wonderful. I kicked it off with what I love doing, mission work. We went to Ethiopia and East Africa, Rwanda, and made some wonderful, had opportunity to do some absolutely wonderful work. Did a whole lot of other, but I had business kind of travel things of building up this new work that God has given. And I got a chance to have a vacation in the summer. I'm usually from one conference meeting to another conference meeting. I got a chance to go on vacation, and it was absolutely phenomenal. Vancouver, Canada, never been there. A close friend, job had her there, and her job had her at the JW Marriott. Okay, and so I. Oh, glory, right? You talk about God being good. And so I went.
Beautiful place.
It's absolutely beautiful. I'd always wanted to be on a plane that landed on the water, not landed, right? To sit on the water. And so I had that experience for the first time. And so I had an absolutely wonderful summer. Our school year is kicked back off here at Georgetown. And to kick off my year, I'll be posting on Facebook as well. Georgetown has created a new position. It is a pilot program that oh my God. And the interview for it. And so waiting on that final paperwork, but I get to design this program, to work it out, to lay out what the benchmarks are, and believing it'll be a success, get to implement it campus wide. So this little Black girl, all the way from South Georgia, right, gets to leave her footprint, right, in this college at Georgetown University, the
Academy.
university that built itself on selling slaves. Come
My,
on, somebody. And so,
my. And the
so
black
I've had
girl is starting a new program. All right, all right.
and so it has been absolutely wonderful. So before we jump in, and trying to give one of the other coaches time to get on, our viewing audience, that let us know that you're here, that you're here, you listen to us. Hi, Cheryl McDaniel, all the way from Texas. Peggy Lucas out of here at Union City, Georgia. So good, so good. Come on, let us know that you're listening, where you're listening from. We're so glad that you have made a choice and a decision to join us now. All right. Okay. So I wish several times during this summer that we were on the air. Okay, several times. Okay. So let me start. I'm just gonna list these two things first. One, that Montgomery Brawl, my God, I wanted to I was like, y'all, can we just do a live, real with the Montgomery Brawl? Okay. I mean, August 5th, that is the new, I know we got Juneteenth, but no, okay, that is no longer the official holiday. All right, for us as Black people. All right, we got a new official holiday. And then the other I want to talk about, it took a Black woman in Georgia to get the mug shot. Okay, to get the mug shot. Hello, somebody. Okay. All right. So while it's jump on one of those. Which one? You want to start with the Black woman in Georgia? You want to start with the Montgomery Ball?
Girl, let me talk about Fanny. That girl is BAD bad. I am so proud to be a Georgian right about now, only because of her. I promise you. And especially from political perspective, she slammed down that hammer. So y'all, come on! I'm ready for all of y'all. Come on, bring it on, bring it on. Let's do it. Let's do it. She is bad. She she said, y'all better be here by Friday the 15th of August or I'm putting you in jail. Okay, I bet you all of them got there before 12 o'clock. They were right under the wire, but they got there.
They got there. They got
yeah. That girl is BAD bad. I am.
Wow.
I've just been so. I'm like you. I really wish we could have had a broadcast on the day that made those announcements that night, and them folks was something. They scared, not scared, but they scared. And it's just been a beautiful, beautiful thing to see her and her confidence. And, MSNBC said, we were all complaining that she didn't bring the charges sooner, but girlfriend was getting her act together. Let's go.
Wait a minute, I'm still tickling. Then to find out that what was it? Today is Tuesday, so last Friday, I think, that a document was released that the grand jury actually recommended 39 indictments, right?
Ooh,
and so for her to narrow that list down means that
Christie out of New Jersey. He said on MSNBC, a district attorney worth their salt will not bring charges unless they know they're going to win. How about that? So, woo-wee! All right, girl, I'm so happy I can't stand myself.
It's exciting for me. It's exciting for me.
Wait a minute, but she waited late, right, to come up. And I was like, I can't go to sleep. I was pinching myself to make sure, right? Oh my God, I had to make sure. I was like, up drinking coffee, cocoa. I was like, no, I am not. I gotta watch this live. I didn't want to hear anybody tell me what it was. I didn't want to comment. And then, she walked in with her entourage, went up there, elections bad a little bit. Hair was in place. Said what she had to say. Right. I think she took two questions. Then she looked back like, okay, it's the stage left. All right.
Let me help
Same
you.
here. Yes.
Let me help you understand what's really going on.
Yes.
Whoa, wait, I did.
Oh,
I want to see if I can write my congressperson and see if they can make another black holiday. Now I'm gonna switch for a minute. Make another black holiday because the Montgomery Brawl, y'all know we went live, so give us a minute, right? Give us a minute. Now the Montgomery Brawl,
the
right?
check.
I don't know if it was Aquaman for me. I don't know if it was the cab. I don't, and then to continue to see all the different angles y'all. I was just like, I got some popcorn and I got in front of my computer and I just clicked all the links and I was just watching it, right? Because I needed to make sure I didn't miss any of the little TikToks that went out. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. Girl, one of my girlfriends, Burns and Chalice Bradford, sent me a text that had a picture of somebody in her neighborhood that put the chair out by the tree. Had a folding chair. They said Target had run out of folding chairs.
Walmart too. You couldn't buy no line. Gone.
No.
Gone.
It was the earrings for me. The folding chair earrings.
I saw a pair of earrings too. Folk were trying to figure out, okay, well, what are they trying to do with these earrings? I say, we have to ask them. That's all the money they got is they can buy some earrings. Can't buy no chair, can't do nothing else. But they can go to the Yang and buy some earrings. How about
yeah. One of the things I thought was because in DC, other cities as well, that people don't really like people for some reason, won't speak to each other and do all other stuff. Y'all, I was out at one of the waterfronts with my friend, and it was amazing to me, absolutely amazing. All the brothers, everybody walking, what's up? Hey, what's up? It was like, everybody was speaking. I was like, oh,
yeah, you back in the South. That Maryland was a part of the South, huh?
That's it right there.
That's a good point. That's a good point. She said church is fine. They would just cancel all of it and just sold it.
I love it. I love it. Council of Fish Fries and just sell folding chairs. That's all right.
That's a major fundraiser. Listen.
Wait. I did. I'm with you, Chris Cheryl. That broad it just gave me just a whole different kind of life. It was like, okay, yeah, we can. It was like, yeah, we can work together. And that unspoken truth of like, right, we tired. We already found out what happened if we just stand back and we videotape, right? One of us end up dead. It was like Montgomery said, we know who ain't gonna end up dead today.
Look, what is the clarion call? The hat. That's the clarion call. Woo-hoo!
And they came.
Wait a minute. Who was that a few years ago? Paula White. She was calling on their ancestors from the north, the south, the east, and the west. Well, them ancestors came from the north.
You did not just compare that thing. Baby, she was calling on everybody. And I thought, okay, I'm listening to this type of tongues. And I thought,
But apparently her ancestors
what you doing?
They don't listen to her. Her ancestors don't listen to her. Because Trump did
no. She called on the African ancestors in that. And the African ancestors said, we heard the call and we showing y'all from the north. They couldn't turn around fast enough to figure out where all the kicks were coming. And when that chair landed, I was like,
wait, did you see when the police finally came, how they tried to turn on the tears? I was like, wait a minute. That's that white, not just white woman, white folk fragility. And I said, here we go again.
But wait a minute. But this time it didn't work.
Now, let me tell you something.
The police chief was black. That's the problem.
Well, and it was good. And then I appreciated some of the white brothers and sisters who did their own TikTok videos. Like,
Yeah,
It's okay.
this has been hilarious. Okay, I know I guess is backstage. She waiting, but who? I'm sorry. I guess backstage. We hadn't seen each other for a minute, and we've been holding all this in.
Yes, 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 yes.
Mm.
Woo!
Oh gracious! All right.
All right, you want
Wallace,
me to
introduce our
introduce?
guest for us, please.
Yes,
let's,
it's
let's
none
get our
other
composure
than
together, okay?
none other than Dr. Trudi A. Williams, and she is so excited to be our special guest today. She is talking about her book, Voices from the Collective Voices from the Village. She loves children and young adults, young women. Her goal and ministry is to empower young women to be the best that they can be in all that they can be. I I took my grandchildren to one of her young women conferences for a whole day on a Saturday. Those girls absolutely loved it. They couldn't stop talking to their mother about how wonderful it was. So she has a ministry for young Black women to be all they can be. And I am just so proud to know her. She's a former parishioner of the historic Ebenezer Baptist Church. And I am glad we have reconnected first through line dancing and now through timely wisdom. Thank you so much, Dr. Trudi, for being with us. We thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting me to come. Can you hear me
Yes.
okay?
Oh, yes. You
We
wonderful.
hear you
You sounding
wonderfully.
great. You sounding
You
great.
ladies, I was backstage and I was rooting you on, and I'm telling you, I said the Lord knew to place me with you because we are focused on the same kind of things.
Yes.
And Fonnie Willis, yeah, that's a bad
Yeah,
sister
girl,
right
that's
there.
a bad sister right there.
It's gonna take a woman to get that together, and she's gonna do it.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
beautiful,
Yes.
beautiful, beautiful.
Well, Dr. Trudy, first of all, talk to us about your inspiration for the collection and sharing of stories from the village and your writing of your book that I see the cover that you have behind you there. So it is it's so beautiful. But I want to know what was your inspiration? What caused you to want to do this?
Well, I guess, you all would be able to relate to this. It's kind of like a paradigm shift. When that pandemic hit,
Mm.
it woke me up. I don't know about you all, but it really woke me up. And when I saw my daughter was at Howard University at the time, and she and her friends had to be rushed off from the university. And you know how young people are, they just, like, hey, she says, I'm going to stay another week. I said, no, 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 no. I think that this is really serious. You need to get on the plane with your friends and head back to Atlanta, Chantel. And she was just like, oh, well, I think I'm going to take, it's going to be cheaper to fly to Florida and then come back and, all this kind of stuff. Well, those are the kind of things that young people, they just take it for granted that everything's going to be okay all the time. And I was getting nervous about that. And when she came home and had to sit with her parents for that year in a room doing her schoolwork, I'm telling you, it just really did something to me. And it spurred me to know I don't have that much time left to do what I need to do.
Absolutely.
God has given me an assignment, and I just kind of, since I'm retired, I do what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? And so I just decided I've got to do something while I'm home, because it was driving me crazy, because any of my friends will tell you, I'm not one to just sit in the house and do nothing. I like to, Reverend Wallace, I like to get out.
Always on the go. Yes.
Yes, do things. So I appreciate you all inviting me, Dr. Bradford and Dr. Burns. Thank you so much. Okay, so that was one thing. the hopelessness of my daughter and not knowing whether she's going to ever be able to go back to Howard again. The second thing that spurred me on was the fact that I started brainstorming about my childhood and what it was like, and what would my parents do, who are both deceased. What would they do at this time to help their child get through this hopelessness? So that was the second thing. And then the third thing being that I like to write, and it was a calming kind of thing for me. It helped me through my stress that I really didn't want my daughter to see. So my parents had always said, children are to be seen and not heard. Well, I didn't raise my daughter like that, and it's obvious so, because she's a very strong-willed young woman. She's in law school right now. And we say this as parents, but then again, we jerk back on it. And so I have been, saying, well, I want my daughter to speak up for herself and do these things. So that kind of spurred me to the title. And then I ran that by my husband. I ran that by my girlfriend, Victoria Ball, who's a very dear friend of mine. And of course, my daughter. And I said, what do you think? I'm thinking about this book being for young women. Do you think this would help other young women? She said yes. And then when I came up with the title, I said, Chantel, here are the titles. I had a dozen titles. And I said, I'll need you to select one of these titles. And that's how I came up with the title, Collective Voices from the Village, Reflective Keepsake Journal for Young Women. So Chantel was very instrumental early on in helping me through this, and my friends. And how I got to the village part, I had another whole title. In fact, it had the word wisdom in it. And I had a whole nother title. Everything had wisdom. Isn't that
interesting?
Strange the way this comes together. And I changed it. But all through the book is wisdom. Wisdom of women, everyday women in my community and Chantel's community. These are the people that helped me. I was a mother at 48 years old when I had my daughter. I didn't have a clue. All I could do was go by what my mother taught me back in the day. And my mother, and my father was a military man, and he ran that house, like he was in the military. And there was so much wisdom in my home. There was so much guidance. There was so much teaching of character in my home that I wanted that to be taught to my daughter as well as other young people. I'm an educator of 40 years in the public school system. And most of the time I was a guidance counselor. And then I went to the university system and at Clark Atlanta University, and I was a college professor. But it wasn't just the young women, it was the young men too. But I knew that I needed to concentrate on a group. And with all the things that are happening to women now, I felt that the young girls or the young women would be my focal point.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that amazing journey to get to where you are. And I want to admonish our audience that the book is on Amazon, so you can purchase, and it's not real expensive. So if you have a young person in your home, especially a young female, please get them a copy. Share with our audience why it's so important that we encourage our youth and to keep them and help them to remember, never give up and never quit.
Dr. Williams, before you answer that question, say the name of your book, the fullness of your book again for us, so that we can get it in the chat.
The name of the book is Collective Voices from the Village. And it's a reflective keepsake journal for young women. And Reverend Wallace, you are exactly right. They can get it on Amazon. But ladies, I ventured out. And when you talk about young people not quitting, I don't quit either. And I do my own marketing. And I have done marketing right here in Atlanta, Georgia. I said, if I'm going to teach these young ladies to be all they can be, I need to do my own marketing, because the marketing that I have seen doesn't fit what I need to do, because this is a ministry for me. So what I do, I sell books, and I ask adults to buy books for young women. And I want to share with them the wisdom in the books. And these are all local women. They're not Beyonce. They're not SZA and all those. However, these women have a lot of wisdom and knowledge. So I do my own marketing, and you can purchase books directly from me. I got a storehouse right here in my house.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
I can share that information with you. So, you know, I take Cash App and Zelle. I mail the books out. You know, I can share that information. Yes, indeed.
Awesome. Awesome. So you found a joy in writing and journaling yourself. So talk about what that value is for journaling thoughts and feelings at a young age.
Okay.
And again, let me introduce you, Dr. Williams, because I don't like to miss opportunities for sales to go on. So if people wanted to buy the book directly from you, is there a website? How do they connect with you in order to get that information?
Okay. My website is in the process. Okay. So the best way for them to get the information from me, and I can send that to them by way of email presently. And my email address is dr, like in doctor, TRUDIA, like in apple or and, Williams, my name, WILLIAMS @gmail.com. And I will send all of the other information, my Zelle account, my Cash App account, and I will directly mail those. I like to correspond with the person. That's the other reason I do my marketing, because I want to have a connection with my the people that I'm selling books to. This is not just selling books. I want to get to know them, know if they have young people that I can connect with and things like that. So,
so again, the email address is DRTRUDI W.
No, A, like an and.
Okay.
Williams.
At gmail.com.
That's correct.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Dr. Wallace, you asked me a question about young people and the importance of not quitting.
Yes, I did.
Question?
I did before.
Okay.
Yes.
So I was a guidance counselor, and I used to always talk to young people about not giving up. So I worked in the inner city schools, and so many of them didn't have parents like my daughter, you know, a mother and father in the home. And they were raised by the grandparents. Some of them were adopted. Some of them were in halfway houses and things. And so I wanted them to understand that you can be the best person you can be. I didn't come from a wealthy environment. Okay. We were poor, as they used to say. And my mom and dad raised me. I had two parents in the home, but they didn't have much money. But they made it stretch. And so I want young people to understand that, and understand that people like Coco Gauff, for instance, I sat in front of that TV watching that young lady, and she didn't give up. And she said people gave up on her, but she didn't give up on herself, and her parents didn't give up on her. So that means a lot to young people, you know, that we don't give up on them. And like my mother said, you can be anybody you want to be, and you can do anything you want to do. That's in the book. And that stuck with me. And that's why I wanted to do a book with affirmations, quotes, and scriptures in it. Because if in the front of my book, and you see the cover of the book, and this is it, Collective Voices from the Village. In the front of my book, and I want to tell you, this is what I bring to the attention of young people. I make up my own quotes. And so this quote hit me during the pandemic. And it says, use your voice. Never allow yourself to be spiritually, emotionally, physically, or socially incarcerated by society's chains on you. I'm sorry, ladies, I'm not bragging on myself, but isn't that powerful?
Yes.
Oh,
And
because that's what
you should brag on yourself. It's okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
Try to pat your own self on the back.
Yeah.
Huh? We don't do
that,
it
Yeah.
enough.
That's right. That's
that's what
Wow.
I want
Wow.
young people
yeah.
to
You
know.
need to say that again, though, Trudy.
I,
You need to
I
repeat
was just
that.
about to say that. She needs to repeat that
Please.
because somebody was like, wait a minute, I need to write that down. Say that
Okay.
again. Say that again.
Okay, and I'm gonna read it because this is my original, and I don't want to, I do have a gift for gab. I'll get talking about something else. It came to me. The Lord brought this to my attention. I woke up in the middle of the night and I wrote it down. Use your voice. Never allow yourself to be spiritually, emotionally, physically, or socially incarcerated by society's chains on you.
Mm.
Because oftentimes I have felt like I had chains on me. I felt like I couldn't speak up and speak out, even at work, on my job. I just felt like I was incarcerated. And I want young people to know you have a voice, and especially women. And I tell my daughter, watch the news, baby, because every day things are changing for women, for all of us, women and men, but especially for women. The laws are changing. And I think that's part of the reason why she decided to pursue a career, her doctorate, pursuing her doctorate in law, because of the things that have changed in her life. And the Lord led her in that direction. I said, if you I always tell her, too much is given, much is required. And that's what I would say to young people. Too much is given, much is required. Because you can't be selfish with this thing. And that's what I started thinking during the pandemic. Even though I've worked for 40 years, I still have more work to do. God has given me an assignment. I have to follow through on that assignment and make sure that I give young people all that I can give them. Every person that's been successful, whether it be a Beyonce, whether it be a SZA, whether it be a Michael Jordan, any of the entertainers, anybody, they became successful not by not doing hard work. They worked hard, and they were so close to failure and started to give up and decided not to give up. And that's why they are who they are.
There's a question here in the chat for you, Dr. Bradford. Yeah, do you see it?
Sure.
It's on the screen.
Sure. How do you and we teach young adults, especially women, to believe in their self-worth as we applaud the success of Coco Gauff and other young voices?
Thank you, Connie. Connie is one of my church members and very instrumental with our young people. Well, I think the main thing is to get them to understand that these people, these popular celebrities, are people just like they are. Everybody had to start somewhere. And sometimes I think our young people think that, these people, like they're almost like a god or something like that.
Woke up that way.
They can do it, but I can't do it. But that is not true. And we have to keep encouraging them to use your God-given gifts. Your God-given gifts. And that's how you become successful. You don't always look at another person. Everybody's unique in their own way. And so you use the gifts that you have. Don't look at what somebody else is doing. What can you contribute to society? I hope I answered your question, Connie.
Wow. And if I'd like to kind of piggyback on that because you mentioned Coco Gauff. I'm an avid tennis fan. And
sports, no, not just tennis, sports.
Football, tennis,
baseball, tennis, everything.
Okay,
soccer,
baseball can be someplace, but tennis I played on the court and would still be playing if I didn't have that Achilles injury that has still shaken me up somehow psychologically. But my question is, in what you said about understanding that they weren't born gods, right? One of the things I remember hearing in Coco's, in her response of winning, and she talked about when she lost, I think it was the French Open, that she thought her world was just going to end. And then she had to kind of shake herself back to reality and said, no, you're privileged to kind of have this sport. There are people, You know, there are people who don't have anything, and here it is. You get to travel the world playing the sports, and with that, she talked about those who didn't believe, as you mentioned earlier, who didn't believe in her. But one of the things for myself, just because of my own relationship with God, is that when she won, I've never seen a tennis star do this. She knelt at her chair and prayed.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes, she
I've,
did.
I've been watching tennis
Yes.
for
Yes.
decades.
Yes.
She knelt and prayed,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
And so that kind of centering in what I'm hearing in your sharing of this, of the reflective moments of knowing where your voice is, and having that kind of centering, but not allowing whatever situation you're in to mute the authenticity of your voice. Just one.
Right.
Just,
And you know, Dr. Burns, I think my daughter can testify to this. She has always been raised, she was raised at Ebenezer Baptist Church. And some of her greatest wisdom and greatest encouragement, that village was at Ebenezer Baptist Church. She still goes to church, even though she's in Baltimore, Maryland. I didn't tell her to find a church home. She's 23 years old. She found her own church home, but it was because of the foundation of Ebenezer Baptist Church and the people there, that village that I have that is none other. And I thank God for Ebenezer. I really do, because Chantel has so many people that watch after her. They still keep in touch with her. They still have resources for her. They still love her, even though she's gone away to school. So I
There's
think
another
when you
question.
have God in your life and you can, say, I, I have God there. And when I saw Coco, in fact, I took a picture of her kneeling. I said, this child, the reason she's so successful is because she knows she's
Where
got
her
a
help.
Heavenly Father and,
Mhm.
right there with her all the time.
Yep.
Dr. Williams, there's another question here. It says, it's from Renee Thompson Jones. Do you think it would be a debate to say women are becoming to evolve, especially this younger generation? Or, yeah.
Yes, if I understand your question, um, and I keep using my daughter as an example and
That's
her
good.
friends and the young people that I've been in contact with. These young people, this Gen Z age, I'm telling you, they don't mind speaking up and speaking out, and they'll take the risk. If they decide that they want to do something, they do it. And they are, for lack of but better words, their own person.
Amen.
I mean, that's just my opinion, but they are their own person, and they will, if they believe in it, they'll follow through on it. That's just my opinion.
I
Older
think that
women.
is the evolution, though, Dr. Trudy, because in our generation, we were kind of muted in some respects. As you say, we were taught children are to be seen and not heard. So
Yes,
the evolution, I think, thank you, Renee Thompson
right.
Jones, for bringing out that
Hmm.
women have evolved and found their voices,
Hmm.
and because of that, the Gen Zs are speaking out. They are not afraid of
Hmm.
like, I watch my own daughter, young daughter, and she has no trouble telling those folk at her PTA for for her children, them all them other hues at that school. She has no problem talking up and speaking up about their micro and macro
Microaggressions.
aggressions. Yeah,
Lord have
I
mercy.
love it. I love it. You're
I mean,
right.
That's
you can
true.
look at Coco when in the tennis match, how she challenged the judge,
Hmm.
and how she wanted. She said, look, you see this. I'm not going. In other words, I'm not going to stand for it anymore. This has happened to us for too long. Now I'm taking a stand. There's another question out here, Edna Elam. What can one do to help someone to release themselves of a relationship that to me has taken their self-worth for too long, over 30 years.
Ooh.
My God.
Wow.
My God.
That's a heavy one. In my opinion, it would be, I don't think it's ever too late to come into your own self being. I think women do it all the time. And I will admit, I'm still doing it. I did it today. That's how I got my internet on. I had to tell my husband, look, I've got to have this today. I've got a program this evening. My internet was out. And I said, I've got to have it. Okay. And that kind of thing. So it took me a number of years, I'm going to be quite honest with you, to become my own person and to say, this is what I want. And this is how I'm going to go about having it. And if it really and truly means that I wouldn't have a man in my life at the time or whatever, especially, you know, and I was a feisty person when I was younger. I was like, you know, I'm surprised I ever got married because I always said that, and I know some women aren't like that, but I don't think it's ever too late. You just got to know who you are. And I had to keep going back to what my mother told me. You know, she always told me that, yes, you get married or, you know, or you have a boyfriend or whatever, but you always need to be your own person and have your own, you know, that's just the way I was raised. It's hard for some women. It was hard for my sister. My sister went through a whole lot. She was nothing like me, but my mother was always preaching it anyway. So I don't know what you ladies think, but you know, personally, I don't think it's hard for some women, but it's never too late. I think having a village helps.
That's what I was about to say. When we surround ourselves with great women, great influences, it will influence our life, and we can grow from that. When you are in a relationship that has taken your self worth, that particular person that you're in a relationship with, it is intentional. They've taken you from that situation or taken you from your positive influence so they can have control. So surround yourself with those people that are going somewhere so that you can really move toward what God has called you to do and what God has called you to be.
I would add to that, Dr. Bradford and Dr. Williams. Oftentimes, we hear voices from our childhood that hold us back. And we have to find ways. I know personally that, you know, you hear your parent, it may be a guardian, it may be a parent, it could that you're never going to amount to anything. So because you've heard those voices, it's difficult to break through. So I would encourage uh, women who find themselves in situations where they don't think their self-worth, that not only do you find a village, but find a therapist. And if you're African American, find a Black woman that you can talk to in a safe environment so that you can gain your self-respect, your self-dignity, and your self-worth. And that therapist will help you rechannel and rename and reclaim and reframe those old messages into powerful messages that will build you up. So please don't stay in that situation. Call a girlfriend who can help you move out of that situation for your own self worth and your own survival.
Right. May I read something from my book?
Certainly.
Okay, this is Reverend Chelsea Waite, who is a dynamite young minister at Ebenezer Baptist Church.
Oh,
And
yes,
in the
she
book,
is.
yes, she wrote, I am somebody. You are somebody. Validation is only sparking. My prayer for you is that you will unshamedly live in your purpose. May you realize and recognize that you do not have to devalue yourself to accommodate the insecurities of others.
Amen.
Be you. You got this.
Mm,
I thought that was very powerful.
mm,
Yeah, she's
mm.
a great young minister. I mean, up and
Yes,
coming. She's doing wonderful job where she is.
Yes.
yes.
Yes. So, Dr. Trudy, I want to pull a quote from your book that just really stuck with me.
Okay.
You say in your book that knowledge is simply information, but
Hmm.
wisdom is constructively applying knowledge at the right time. Can you expound a little bit more on how you got to that place and where you've shared already that you have so many uh quotes even from yourself. But this one just really kind of stuck out with me, especially that word wisdom. That it's more than just knowledge; it's knowing how to apply it and when. Knowing how to apply may be one thing, but to identify when to apply that knowledge, um, oftentimes we miss out
Right.
because we don't seize the moment. So, can you talk little bit about that?
Yes, I would say, and I know we got members of the clergy here, but when I think about wisdom, I thought about it, many times. And I said, wisdom is like fine wine. It gets better as it ages.
That's right.
And that's the way I think about wisdom
Mm,
because I tell my daughter all the time, you're smart, but you're not smarter than me. I'm wiser than you. My mother was wiser than me. And I could never, as much as I try, ever compete with my mother because my mother was much wiser than me. She was much older than me. And it came with time, just like fine wine. And I tell my daughter the same thing. So
mhm,
that's the way I see it.
mhm,
And my elderly people, there are some elderly people in this book from
mhm.
Ebenezer Baptist Church. There's some women that I go to when I need some advice because I know they are wiser than me. They don't have as much education as me, but they are
But
much
that.
wiser than I could ever be because they've lived longer and they've been through more things.
Mhm.
Dr. Williams, I just want to tease you for a moment because two of us on here are Methodists. You got another Baptist on there with you.
Oh,
I just want to know how you know what fine wine tastes like. That was all. That's my only question. But okay, go on. Carry on. Carry on.
look,
Hey.
you can actually talk about what you don't always know, right?
Good answer. Good answer. I like that comeback.
I told you I write quotes, didn't I?
I love it. I love it. I
Oh
love it.
goodness.
I love it. I
Now,
love
look,
it.
I have some Methodist friends too, and I won't say that they don't know about fine wine.
No, they were drinking grape juice. You just weren't aware.
Oh goodness.
This
I
is
love you
this is
all.
no, thank you so much, Dr. Trudy. You have just inspired us by your own living out your own purpose, by answering the call that God placed on your life during COVID. I can join you in that answering the call because I really thought I was too old to be trying to start a business. But God laid it on my heart in the hospital with COVID to start an online CPE program. And I was about to give up, but thanks be to God for Dr. Kelly Farrell. She was on our show and she said, your success is just around the corner when you think you want to give up.
Hmm.
And that
Hmm.
blew me away because I was that close to saying, I don't, God, I didn't hear you. But this is the first time I've had a unit where people are paying for their training. So it was I hear you. That
Right.
oh my goodness. Answering the
Hmm.
call
Hmm.
of what God has called you to do even in the struggle, it is worth it.
And God will order your steps. And I'm a witness to that. God will take you to the people that every time that I have ever been successful in life, and I tell young people this, it's because God has taken me, ordered my steps, and taken me to a place where I need to be. Reverend Brenda Wallace, for instance, she and I hadn't seen each other in years. And then our paths crossed. Every person that has helped me become successful, I met them at a time when I really needed some help getting over that hurdle. And they took me to the next level. And that's every career that I've had. There was someone there for me that would take me to where I needed to be. And that's only God. God knows your uniqueness. God knows what your needs are. And God will take you where you need to be. I'm a witness to that.
Amen. 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 Yeah, I to see my Ebenezer family going to support Reverend Warnock in his campaign, that was just
Yes.
Ooh, it, it was
Yes.
it was godsend. You're right. I
Yeah.
reconnected with a lot of the Ebenezer family,
Right.
and you all ushered me in with the entourage with for Reverend Warnock. So
Yes.
I will forever be grateful for that reconnection.
Mhm.
And then we started doing line dancing, and I got sick and haven't been able to get back. But
There them Baptists go again.
yeah, girl. Yeah, girl. I enjoyed that line dancing, girl. It was so much fun. And it was the camaraderie of those Black women. And they come from all walks of life, from education to the arts, to just everything. They from accounting, from government. They were from all walks of life. So it was really a blessing. I really miss being with you guys and praying that the Lord will help me get back um, to be with you again.
Yes, I hope so. I definitely hope so. And I'm very political, ladies. So when you start talking about politics, you got me, right there. You got my attention. And yes, Reverend Warnock, I was right there at every, making those calls. And I don't do a whole lot of walking, but I was walking and talking to people and doing all this stuff. Yes, indeed. Trying to get, everybody in place that needed to be in place.
And
So,
we're going to have to do a really good job, because I hear that our current governor wants to run against um, Reverend Warnock for the Senate seat. So we got some work ahead, and hopefully our next week our guest will talk a little bit about that.
Dr. Williams, we have about good 4 minutes left. What are some things that you want to make sure that our viewing audience hears from you before our time with you ends?
well, I hope that in my platform kind of leans towards getting all of us, make it intergenerational, and that's Judge Penny Brown Reynolds, who Dr. Penny Brown Reynolds, who now works for President Biden. She did she endorsed my book, and one of the things when I asked her to endorse the book, I wanted something intergenerational, something where I can bring together women of all ages and young women, and we need to help them as a village to get to the next level. We need to teach them, because I found that when I had my college students, some of them didn't have a clue what was really going on, and they were seniors, but they still didn't know how to focus and where they were really headed in their lives. But I think that we have to come together, and we've got to save our young people, because they are our future. And I want to leave a legacy for my daughter and for these other young people. I want them to know that people care about them. And, I think with our suicide rates being like they are and everything, I know sometimes we think that we are doing what we need to do, but we need to communicate with these young people and stay in their lives so that they understand that we care, and that if there's nothing wrong if you feel like you're having problems, that they can get help, psychological help if they need it, if they need counseling, therapy, whatever they need, they can get it. And then with all the violations, sexual violations, and everything else that's taken place that affect our young people, I just feel like we need to be in tune with that. The schools need to be in tune with it. The community needs to be in tune with it. And we need to save our young women, because some of them are being subjected to so much. And it's easy. It's easy to do, and it's easy to happen. I've talked to so many young women, and they just want to survive. There are some young women that just want to survive. And if it means that they have to put themselves on the block, they're going to do it. And so I used to have students in my class that were out, and they were making a living and might not be, accepted by most. But I said, look, they're trying to survive. So we need to teach them another way. You need to help that person, maybe find another way to survive. That's what it's about, all about survival. And I think that we all need to make changes in our society. And I always think about, and this is in my book too, Marian Wright Edelman once said, if you don't like the way the world is, change it. You just do it one step at a time. So I think that's what we need to do. We just need to take one step at a time, and we all need to stop, not all of us, but some of us need to stop pointing the finger and start making those fingers point back to you and say, I need to do something to make other people's lives better, whether it be a male, female, whoever, and stop passing judgment on other people and what we think they should be and putting them in a little box. So other people do it. And if I may say, that in the African American community, it's just frowned upon. Everything's all hush hush and whatever. When young people have problems, we just need to start helping these kids and stop pointing at our neighbor and saying, how'd that child turn out like that? Well, they turned out like that because we didn't help them. That's why they turned out like that. So, my daughter's 23 years old. She's in law school. I could just turn my back and say, hey, my daughter made it. Let everybody else do what they have to do to let theirs make it. I can't do that because I'm part of the village. And as long as I'm part of the village, if I just can make a change in a small group of young women, I will do it. And, I will work with the young men too. But I tried to make young women my platform, because I know I can't do it all. So that's what I would leave with people. Let's just be a village. Let's help one another. And you all know women, you're successful women. And there are women, that jealousy factor will be there. And people, when they see you trying to do something, they want to yank back on it and criticize and so on and so forth, that they don't want to support you. But I tell young women, I said, I'm going to do what I have to do, with or without. And so if I just have a few people to help me, then so be it. I'll just take those few people and we can put our heads together and we can be the village. So I'm just willing, and I know that you ladies support me, because you wouldn't have had me on this program. And I appreciate you so much, because I've just found new friends. Reverend Wallace brought me some new friends, and I love to engage in conversation. As Reverend Wallace says, I have a gift for gab. So I thank you so much for inviting me here. And I feel that my true purpose is to help and serve mankind. Mahatma Gandhi, once said, that this is what we need to do if, make a change in the world. And that's what I want to do. Any little bit that I can do to help people. And I will tell you, when I had the seminar just recently, I had the seminar for young women. And the parents, I contacted every parent that attended with their young lady, and they were so happy. People love for you to pay attention to their children. And I know with myself, I've had a village. I can't do it all I couldn't do it all as I was raising my daughter. My neighbors helped me. My church helped me. The school system people that were my friends helped me. So I know the parents need help. And, sometimes we're even too close to the situation. You need somebody else to reach out to your child and talk to them because they hear you all the time. So those are the kind of things that I'm thinking about. And those are the kind of things that I would like for those of you in the audience to think about, how important it is to be a collective voices in that village, because none of us have just the answer by themselves.
Wow. Wonderfully, wonderfully said. Thank you so much for being our guest. Hang around backstage for us just for a little while. And viewing audience, you know how we like to do it. Put it in the chat. Let us see your comments about today. I saw one individual said they're going to be emailing you to order your book. But again, just thank you so very much for being with us. And you all, we're back. So we look forward to seeing you on next week.
Thank you.